So, this is a set where I went 0 and 5. Yeah, I lost every single battle. And this was right after winning every single battle. So, what went wrong? Well, here I'm just going to talk about some of the things that I could have done differently so that I could have possibly won a battle. So right here I commit a shield that probably was unnecessary. I throw out the surf here, hoping that maybe, yeah, they shield here, so now we're even on shields. Again, I'm up on health, which means I don't have to commit another shield. So I can farm down the Mewtwo with another surf. And we win the lead matchup. So then a Dialga comes out, and I probably should have switched. But since I didn't, we don't lose switch priority. We're back at a standstill. So Metagross can absorb Dialga's hits by resisting them. So here I go for a Meteor Mash. And he doesn't shield it, so if I would have went for Earthquake instead of trying to bait for the shield, Dialga could have been knocked out and I wouldn't have used the last shield, so now they're at a shield advantage. Which means their Togekiss could come out, shield it up, take out Metagross right before I got to Meteor Mash, and since Dragonite is in the back, Dragonite cannot beat Togekiss. So right there was an example of using the wrong charge move. That can easily lose you a game. So on to the next battle now. I lead Rhyperior generally to catch stuff like Dialga leads, which was super common in the high ranks. But right now we ran into a Garchomp, so I switch out into Metagross, which was a big mistake. I should not have switched into the Sand Tomb, because then our defense is fallen and Garchomp is able to chip us down faster. If I would have let Rhyperior take the Sand Tomb, then maybe I wouldn't have been farmed down so quick. So I go for Earthquake here, hoping to knock it out, but they shield. We're at a shield advantage, but now they're able to farm us down and gain tons of energy, which is very bad. And they're also able to farm us down quicker because the Garchomp dropped our defenses when Garchomp shouldn't have been able to, since I switched into the Sand Tomb. So now they can hit Meteor Mash really fast, and I'm not going to be able to farm them down before they can get off another Meteor Mash. Therefore, I have to use both of my shields. If I hadn't switched out, I probably would have been able to save a shield, and if I had been able to save a shield, I might have been able to save the battle. So I go back into Dragonite. I go for a Dragon Claw to hopefully farm down this Kyogre. We're almost able to do it, but a Surf won't do too much to us, so it's not a problem. But guess what? They use a Thunder, because they were able to farm up energy from the Rhyperior. Now, because of that, Metagross is going to be able to farm us down. And then because we're so low, Garchomp is able to easily take us out. And they get to a Sand Tomb first. So what went wrong there? Well, if you have a good memory, you'll remember that I made a mistake in the beginning of the battle. Here's the beginning of the battle again. I switched into Metagross into the charge move. This locked me into a debuff and gave my opponent switch advantage, pretty much giving them the entire control of the battle. Alright, now for the next battle. Again, leading Rhyperior into Kyogre. So when I lead to Kyogre, usually I safe switch into Metagross to save my Dragonite. But then they stop attacking, so I think they're lagging. But then I take a ton of damage and realize, no, they just weren't showing that they were attacking. Which means I was unable to farm the Kyogre enough, and then I accidentally click Earthquake, which is a much less energy efficient move. And they block it, which means they don't have to take the damage. I could have gone for Meteor Mash, maybe 2 of them, and then wouldn't have lost my Metagross this fast. Although Dragonite does have a positive matchup against this Giratina now, since we're at a shield equality, this isn't going to be very good for us, because now they can use this, and then I'm forced to use my shield and be at a disadvantage. So the Giratina goes down, and they send out a Metagross, which is a pretty much hard wall to Dragonite. So I have to send out my Rhyperior, but then they send out their Kyogre again. I couldn't even get to a Rock Wrecker. So now they're up a shield, and Metagross is a hard wall to Dragonite, which means this battle is over, and I leave the match. I lost that battle mistakenly thinking that the opponent was lagging, so they got to kill me, I didn't get to farm up energy, and they got to keep their shields. I also used the wrong charge move once. So, on to this next battle, we got a Giratina Origin lead. This is not good for us, so I go into Dragonite, and they go into Kyogre. I'm like, okay, this is a pretty good matchup for me, because Kyogre does not very effective damage. They block this first Dragon Claw. I assume they're going for a Surf here, and they do. I farm up a little bit of extra energy so that I might have an outrage for something that could come out in the future. They block another Dragon Claw. I don't know why. Dragon Claw doesn't do that much. I planned to go to Outrage, but Dragon Breath is doing enough damage to put in Dragon Claw range. I block this Surf so that I can farm it down. I go for Dragon Claw before I faint. And this battle's looking pretty good. We're at a shielded advantage, so we can use this to get off some more damage to the Giratina. I get off a Dragon Claw and do big damage to it since the opponent ran out of shields. This is looking pretty good. I fought it down with Rhyperior. They sent out a Swampert. I should have gone for Surf here. Rock Wrecker isn't very effective. It does big damage, but it's not very energy efficient. So the Swampert is able to get off an Earthquake, so they dump their energy. Out comes Metagross. But because Swampert's so good, and I already used my Dragonite to counter Giratina, Earthquake one-shots us. So what went wrong there? It's because I didn't get off 2 Surfs against the Swampert. If I got off 2 Surfs, which I think I could have, then Swampert would have gone down before he could have used Earthquake. So this is battle number 4. We get a mirror match of Rhyperior, which is pretty interesting. So unfortunately their Rhyperior is 100%, which means they're going to win this tie. Not much we can do here except just keep using Surf. Hopefully he'll block it. So we keep farming down each other with Mud Slap. We both go for Surf. I decide to let it go down to farm down some energy with Metagross. So that would be at an advantage, or so I thought. Out comes another Metagross. I go right for Earthquake. This also was a mistake, because they shielded up. If I had gone for Meteor Mash, I would have been at a greater energy advantage. They go for Earthquake too. So now I just go for another Earthquake. They easily could have gone for a Meteor Mash of their own there, because they have better IVs than me. I take out the Metagross and out comes Dialga. Now if I had farmed up a little bit more energy from the Metagross instead of using Earthquake, then I would have been able to get to an Earthquake of my own and take out the Dialga. But instead, I get taken out, Dragonite can't finish off Dialga, just barely, and we lose. So again, what went wrong there? I should have baited, but there really wasn't a way for me to tell if that was the right play or not. So that was the 5th and final match, which means I get to battle until I win. And of course, I bet you know what's gonna happen next. Yeah, I finally win, woohoo, yay for me! Guess what? My opponent's Pokemon aren't even maxed out. So this Snorlax goes for Superpower. I wasn't really expecting it, so I go for a Surf. And we get the shield. They switch out into Togekiss, so I switch into Metagross to farm it down. Look at the CP of the Togekiss, it should be at least 3,200, and it's less than 3,000. Crazy. And they go for Dazzling Gleam. Like, what? You run Ancient Power Flamethrower on Togekiss, not Dazzling Gleam. So I go for a Meteor Mash on the Metagross, onto the Snorlax. Since we farmed up energy, we can go for 2. I will farm just a little bit to get an extra bit of energy for whatever is going to come out next. Snorlax attacks me, baits with Body Slam somehow. So I decide to farm down Snorlax. Then out comes Dialga. I have enough energy for Earthquake after farming it down. And Dialga's pretty much done. We can just go in with Dragonite and kill it. We didn't make any mistakes there, and we win. So what are the takeaways? Well, we know that shield baiting is incredibly important in winning battles that you might not be able to win. We also know that switching into things and losing switch advantage definitely gives you a bad position against your opponent. But I think the most important thing that people should be practicing is really thinking one step ahead. Being ready to fire off the right charge attack, or being ready to switch into the right Pokemon, is definitely going to give you the biggest edge over your opponent. I hope you learned something from this little video of me making stupid mistakes. If you want to catch more Pokemon Go videos in the future, you should subscribe to my channel. Only 4% of people are actually subscribed, so if you want to become part of the awesome people who are subscribed, go ahead and do so. It's free. With that said, I'll see you later, trainers.